Hi, I'm Germaine de Peralta from Reiki Wanderlust in Ottawa, and today I'd like to talk about racism and discrimination in the short video, which is based on the brutal slaying of George Floyd in Minneapolis in the United States by white racist policemen. Now, I realize racism and discrimination can happen anywhere. We also have a black population in Canada. As a matter of fact, we have many visible minorities in Canada, mainly as non-white immigrants who have come to Canada, as well as we have the Indigenous people, the First Nations or Native Americans. Many of us have experienced some level of racism or discrimination, if not blatant, very subtle. I myself experienced racism when I was a child, where I was bullied for my ethnicity when I was 7 years old and 14 years old in a couple of countries in the world, but not in Canada. Of course, I have forgiven and transcended these experiences and learned from them. What I can say is experiencing racism and discrimination is brutal. It can hurt one very, very deeply and scar a person for life if they do not go ahead and heal themselves. I've been lucky in my life to have lived in 7 different countries and traveled to many more countries. And as such, I've gotten to know a good cross-section of different ethnicities, nationalities, races, and different kinds of people. One thing I've noticed in all my travels is that underneath all the different races, nationalities, and ethnicities is that we are all very similar. As a matter of fact, we're all essentially the same. We have more in common than we have differences. As human beings, we have the same needs: the need for family, the need for friendship, the need for love, the need for warmth and support, the need for security and safety. We all have aspirations, and most of us are trying our best. We all have challenges. We also share the same emotions of joy and sadness, happiness and suffering, love, grief, anger, laughter, delight. We all need respect and dignity. And we are all capable of kindness, compassion, and empathy, just as we are also capable of behavior that may not necessarily be pleasant. Now, what makes us different is the way we go about satisfying or fulfilling these needs. And so we have different languages, different ways of talking, different behaviors, different ways of being, different cultures. That's what makes us different. My question is to you: is it possible to look beyond the differences in our color, our ethnicities, our nationalities, and look to a person's soul and spirit? In Holy Fire Reiki, we define soul as a person's sum of all the experiences in this lifetime. And if you believe in past lives, it includes past lifetimes. Based on these experiences, we've formed our own beliefs, our attitudes, and our values. A person's spirit is their connection to higher power, whether we call the higher power God, Allah, Buddha, the Creator, the Supreme Being. There are many names for that. So can we look beyond a person's color, ethnicity, nationality, and see to their soul and spirit? Can we get to know people better as persons? Certainly, it's a lot easier to fall back on our assumptions, our prejudices, our generalities, our stereotypes of people. It's a lot easier to fall back on these things. These stereotypes, generalizations, assumptions, or judgments of people are usually passed down to us from our parents, from our society, our community, our relatives and peers. This is all based on prejudice, ignorance, and fear. I would say falling back on all these is laziness, lazy thinking. I would say, can we get to know a person who looks different better? Can we get to know them better? I'm not saying that getting to know another person better is easier. It does take effort to go beyond our comfort zone and get to understand a person who comes from a different background, to understand where they're coming from, to have empathy and compassion, and about the steps they walked in, where they came from, understanding them. I know that whenever I get to know a person who is different from me, all my biases and discriminations fall away. As a matter of fact, when I see a person who's different, who looks different, I see them as a new book to read, a new book that's going to teach me different ways of the world. We are all beings of love, and when you love someone and when you care about somebody, you want to get to know them better. You want to get to understand them better. You want to know where they're coming from. In Reiki, we talk about unification consciousness. A lot of times this refers to religion, but I would say it also refers to the different cultures, ethnicities, and nationalities, and seeing what we have in common, what unites us, as well as respecting our differences. If we are all really united in our same goals of reaching peace, joy, and love in this world, we will achieve this faster, and our cities, our towns, our countries, and the world will be a better place faster and sooner. Thank you. That's just my message for today. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you very much.